everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you could only be here for one reason, and that's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you by Comic Book Clique. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, please introduce yourself.
I'm your insecure male reviewer, Gregory Thomas, aka GT Rebirth.
GT Rebirth has crossed several galaxies to talk about the latest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about 2019's Captain Marvel, first comic book film of the year, live action. Big deal, big shoes to fill.
Oh yeah, and a whole lot of work to do with this one.
Yes.
We're talking about a film that had to really go onto the treadmill, lose about 80 to 100 pounds of backstory to concise into 2 hours.
We're talking about a film that had to climb out of a hole before the film even came out. And I guess we'll get into all of that stuff up there. But we like to do something special here as part of the Major Issues Podcast, and that's give those who have not seen the film a little bit of a spoiler-free review. This way, they get to listen to something this week, just a little bit of something.
Just a little sip.
Yeah, just a little sip of it. And then, so you guys can hear our genuine thoughts and opinions about the film. And then we will get into full spoiler territory and get into all the nooks and crannies. But I guess if we're going spoiler free, the simple question to ask is, what do you think?
I actually enjoyed it a good bit. I think it told a good story. I think it told a different story. While a lot of people will say that this is very much in line with what is the Marvel Phase 1 method.
Okay. Yeah.
It had a bit of a different pace to it than a lot of those did.
Yeah.
It tells what I think is definitely a personal story, which I think is usually the right one. Where people get hung up on like whether or not there's action or whether or not there's an interesting villain or whatnot.
Yeah.
Really, what we're selling in this universe are these characters that we want you to come back to.
Yes.
So who we need to develop most importantly is the person whose name is on the marquee.
No, understandably, completely.
So I was happy with what they did with my Carol Danvers character.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were sitting to figure out what was going to be the end result of this. There was a lot going into it as far as whether or not Brie Larson was right for the role and whether or not Marvel was doing right by the character with introducing her in the 90s and all this other kind of stuff. Me personally, I like the film. It's not one of my favorite Marvel films,
sure.
But
I mean, it's up against some grand ones. At that
yeah,
point
it is.
Too.
There's so many caveats or asterisks with this film because
it's like asking you what's your favorite Bond film. Well, let's see, out of 34,
right? And a lot of people who went to see this saw this after Black Panther,
right,
or Infinity War,
right,
or Into the Spider-Verse, and it's like
it's been up against some bangers.
These are Academy Award winning movies for the most part, and
well, at least nominated.
Well, nominated, yeah. Wait, I think Infinity War might be the only one that didn't win anything.
Did Infinity War even get up there?
For visual effects.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know Panther won, and so did
I
Spider-Verse.
completely ignore the Oscars. I don't know.
It's purple people, Blee. They're discriminating against purple people. Next year, I'm not going to the Oscars. I just want people to know that.
But that just
right
means
now.
they're going to overcorrect the next year, and it's going to be
only
nothing but purple people.
Only purple people.
They're going to like retroactively give what's his name an award for Jessica Jones.
You talking about they're going to be a Gritty Grimace reboot? They're going
to
a Gritty Grimace origin story.
Or
But as far as origin stories go, I thought it was good. I think it does. Like I said, it doesn't get best served where it's at, where it came out. I remember,
maybe not.
But I had less expectations about this than other people. There was a lot of people I think were more disappointed than they probably should have been.
Maybe.
With this film, I've heard that people have had problems with pacing or action and stuff like that, but my main issue, I think, is literally just when it comes out in the scope of things. Because I remember when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I left thinking that was all right, only because we were getting closer and closer to Avengers. We're getting closer and closer to Infinity War. And so every movie getting closer has to have the necessary clue as to what is going on in here. I remember when Black Panther ended, even though I loved it, first thing I did was go, where's the Soul Stone? You understand? And that's just a fault. I mean, there's no fault of the film, but when you have this vast cinematic universe, you watch it almost twice. Where does it fit in the whole scheme of this 22 episode season? Where does this episode sit? And then you start making the comparisons. And
which, by the way, I deeply enjoyed the subversion of where everyone was just like, "Oh man, I can't wait to find out where the Soul Stone is. It must be in some interesting place. Oh, it might have been in Wakanda the entire time." You get to Infinity War and it was in space.
Well, that's a lot of things. It's like it has to be somewhere we've seen. It has to be someone we've seen.
It has to be in some significant place. That would be so cool. It's on from a planet the comics. You've never heard of.
We just made this thing.
You probably don't even know how to say. Because space words are hard.
When we get to spoilers, there'll be some names that are a little bit tricky there.
Oh, dude, can you imagine what's gonna happen once we get to like Eternals and we start getting real weird and cosmic? And
yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
What are words?
Ugh. What? Without spoilers, what? Who do you think are some of the standouts in this film?
While it's on shaky ground with a lot of people, I will say that I did very much enjoy Brie Larson in this.
Okay.
While there were some shaky moments that we will discuss, I will say that I enjoyed her brand of personality that she brought to the film.
Okay.
I related to it.
Okay.
Because, like, the way she's responding is just like, she's a sarcastic douche like me.
Right. And there's a lot of...
I would write myself this
She
way.
knows her own limits. This doesn't... Although she is inhibited many times, and you can see that in the film, you know, where they're constantly capturing her or chasing after her, she is a confident character for the most part. When she finally feels like she knows who she is, she does kind of shine. I'll have more to say about Brie in my when we get to spoilers, but I think that Ben Mendelsohn, man,
Ben Mendelsohn was fantastic.
I don't know what I expected from Talos, and again, I'm not gonna go into spoiler territory, but I did not expect him to put in the performance of that character to that. I didn't think it was going to go to that characterization, nor did I think that he was going to do it. And
it was a very grounded, almost goofy characterization. It's just like, hey, just a dude, like, yo.
But you could also feel the weight of like the prosthetics on him.
Yeah.
But he still was intelligible. Like I can still understand what he's saying. So he was even with the gunk on him, the weight of everything.
Like, I'm trying to move this face as best as I can.
He's still emoting, and he's still able to
I've never thought about that. How heavy must that stuff be?
Right, yeah. I was thinking about it most for Apocalypse.
I can see that.
You know, when it came to X-Men Apocalypse,
right,
and stuff. So I definitely like
a lot of things people don't think about when they're just like, I want my people to look like the comic books. I'm like, those are not humans, and there are limitations to that stuff.
What do you think of Jude Law?
I thought the best I can say for it is Jude Law was really Jude Law-y in this. He's got a performance that is very much like, I am an easily castable villain because I'm kind of like I'm really good at being unlikable.
Does that make him one note?
I don't know, because I also really enjoy him as Sherlock Holmes, and that's not who he is there.
Okay.
But there's an intensity to everything that he does that does come off very well.
Yeah.
So they casted him at what he was good at, and like, you know, if you went to the hamburger place and you asked that dude for a hamburger, you got what you asked for.
Definitely. I actually think that that's the issue with Larson. I think that
really
she asked for a steak and they gave her a hamburger. And she made it into a steak, but it's not going to ever taste like a steak.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Because she wasn't given enough. But what about Maria Rambeau, Lashana Lynch? How do you feel about the cast of characters they put around Carol, like Maria and my man Nick Fury? Samuel L. Jackson coming back.
Samuel L. Jackson looked like, you know, there was a lot around how good the work was to make Samuel Jackson look young again.
Yeah.
Watching this movie, I was like, Samuel Jackson feels young again.
Yeah.
I've not seen that kind of energy from Sam in a while.
And I wonder if he gets tired of just playing the stoic
Probably
BAMF
does.
all the time. Like, I just as you're saying, and this happens a lot of times when we do this podcast, little things just pop up in my head,
Certainly.
and it's like the idea that like Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn are probably the oldest people in this movie besides Annette Bening.
Right.
And all three of them have the time of their lives in this film. So they must have been like, you know what, man? We're just at that point where, like, we're just gonna go balls to the wall with this. And they all have a blast in all different ways and shapes. They all play different characters and stuff.
Annette Bening, for the briefest moment, gets a little dance number.
Yeah, and it's just like, what's going on here? But, yeah, I really like that. And Samuel L. Jackson was jovial. It was a little bit... It did take me back a bit. It took me a while to be like, okay, Nick Fury's telling jokes. Nick Fury's singing at one point.
Yes.
And I'm like, this man can kill you with a paperclip, and he's just jamming to some Motown hits.
This is a young man who's just gotten his job and enjoys it and has not been like hardened and wrecked by the entire weight of the whole thing. Which
begs the question, and we can talk about this in with it being non-spoiler, but do you think that they left that open? Do you think that there's a intermediate Nick Fury story / movie to tell to get from? Because I don't think when this movie ends, he's the Nick Fury in Avengers or Iron Man 1.
I'd say the most important movie to go with is that how did we get the Nick Fury that is in Winter Soldier?
Yeah, right.
Because that is the one who's like, I keep everything to myself. I give different people different missions.
I have a machine gun in my van.
I told Steve that we're going to do this, but I told Black Widow over here to do this while you're there, and only she, everyone.
And neither one knows I'm dead.
Right. Nobody knows all the secrets except Nick.
Right. So yeah, something's got to happen in between.
Excuse me, Fury.
Yeah, no one calls him Nick. I was wondering about that because I did feel. I guess that was an assumption I thought that I was going to get, was that by the end we would get that more polished Nick Fury, but they're just giving themselves the rope to play with.
Yeah.
If they ever want to drop in, and Lord knows they'll just do some sort of young Nick Fury prequel show on the Disney Plus or something.
The same thing as the Loki gimmick they're probably putting up there, and whatever other untitled stuff they have planned.
Yeah. What do you think of Star Force?
It wasn't
for as much as they were in it.
It wasn't exactly A Force or Alpha Flight, but I'll take it.
Okay.
No. Djimon Hounsou was just doing Djimon Hounsou. He had a good funny moment in there, and then Minerva doesn't really get much of anything. For the sake of that, I kind of hope Minerva has some sort of character that gets
I thought the character looked amazing.
Yes.
Looked interesting, looked amazing. Yes. Minerva, she had kind of an attitude with her. I know she had that character is a big Captain Marvel villain.
Yes.
And so
but we spend pretty much 90% of the time just with Yon-Rogg.
Yeah.
And they're just standing around Yon-Rogg.
I would like to see Gemma Chan return as Minerva for sequels, because even the little bit of banter that they have in this film, there's a
attention.
There's an interesting thread there, but then we have to turn our attention to the rest of the film. And I thought in that moment, like, oh, I could see two catty, like a catty villain and a catty hero just going at it the same way, like how you see Tony Stark and Stephen Strange going at it.
Right.
Like these two diametrically different personalities just bumping together. So I thought, oh, that was good.
I need to have the facial hair bros high five though.
Facial hair bros high five.
Have you ever seen that?
I've seen it in the comics. Right?
Yeah.
Where do you think this sits in the pantheon of Marvel movies?
As in, like, if I were to put it in a ranking list?
As if you were we're talking about essential viewing before Endgame. Do you think it goes into the must review before the mission, or?
I don't know, because man, I think I'd have to see Endgame for that, in the sense that I don't know if the Russos are going to take anything from this movie and play it into her character there.
Yeah, because we're
talking about like a 30-year difference?
Yeah, we had heard not issues, but the idea that Black Panther's role was extended a bit for...
Was it?
For Infinity War once the Black Panther film was as
Oh,
large as
okay,
it
that's
was,
what you mean. Yeah.
and they had they known he probably wouldn't have disappeared at all. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
But
Well, you do the Wonder Woman thing where it's like, oh no, she was in the 80s.
yeah, exactly.
She was around.
This wrapped up, to my knowledge, Captain Marvel filming and everything. So I mean, not Captain Marvel, Endgame.
I'm told Endgame has finished filming.
Yeah, Endgame has finished filming. So I do wonder if there's time to course correct, or if they just they just had faith in the character.
I think it's a lot like, and it's funny because it almost ties into the space thing. It's a lot like the Guardians films in that it is so separated that you don't have to watch them as far as the greater thread of the movies go.
Yes.
Because everything that happens to the Guardians happens way out there, and then they just show up for Infinity War.
I had a theory that I had expressed off air to a coworker, and I was wondering about this. I feel like if they had found a way to place this film a bit earlier, what do you think about the idea of us waiting for Carol almost as long as if we waited for Thanos?
That is actually the second time I've heard that. I don't know. One of my good friend, Renata had mentioned to me, also a wrestler known as K-Trid, follow her. He had mentioned to me that, like, had you put her movie all the way back into phase 1,
right,
and we pretty much left these two cosmic level beings build up toward each other,
right,
like,
well, everything
10
just goes
years
to shit
later.
in the middle. right, yeah.
So, like, there's a movie about Captain Marvel all the way in phase 1 in the 90s, and then Thanos gets introduced in the Avengers movie, and then we just wait for these two things to kind of find each other at the climax.
Yeah.
I said, maybe. But also people forget about things.
That's true.
And you'd have to constantly be like,
by the way.
Matter of fact, are you watching Supergirl right now?
I am.
It would be the exact same thing they're doing with the Russian thing, where every once in a while they're just like, oh, by the way, that's happening over there.
Yeah, so that when Red Daughter shows up,
right,
it's not just out of nowhere.
It's like, oh, that was happening, was it? Like, no, we told you the entire time.
By the way, off to the side, the Elites, bro, I'm so down.
When I saw they gave him the blue hair, I was just like, oh, they did it.
Completely down. But
my boy Manchester Black.
That's it. This. I mean, they coulda, shoulda, woulda. They did what they could with what they had, and I think that they did a good job. I think that this film over multiple viewings will probably grant you more enjoyment. But going in with the weight of this is the film before Endgame might sour your taste to it. If you're expecting the key to defeating Thanos in this film, which some people were, I mean, that's their problem and prerogative, because this was labeled a Captain Marvel movie in the 90s, but people were looking for a thread and a through line. A lot of people were just yada-yadaing through the Captain Marvel stuff, waiting for the literal post credit that we got.
What is the connection to Endgame so that we can
right.
I mean, if you're only looking at her as the supposed like Deus Ex Machina, then I don't know. It's not often that a Deus Ex Machina gets a backstory.
This is true. But this reminds me of Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out 2 months after Endgame? I mean, Infinity War.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching the whole movie going, all right, so when is you know what I'm saying? Like when
Ant-Man and the Incredible Hulk are the only 2 MCU movies I have probably not gotten out of my bed to watch.
Okay.
Ever since I got on that train.
Both of the Ant-Man films?
I never went out to see them. I waited till they were on Netflix.
Okay. But you've seen them all?
I still haven't seen the Wasp movie yet.
Okay.
I know it's on Netflix. I still haven't sat down and watched it. I should before they take it off.
Yeah. But throughout that whole movie, I'm sitting waiting for,
what's the connection?
How does this get back to literally all my heroes are dead, and you want to spend 2 hours talking about this little man?
Aren't they arguing happening at the same time?
There's a portion. The only part of it that deals with it is the post credit. And you are led to believe that there's some time between the actions of the film and the post credit. If I had to guess,
so the climax of the film,
maybe a week.
Okay, so there was some time between the climax of the film and then the post credit scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's maybe like a week or 3 or 4 days, and because if that was going on, I think in Cali there'd be news reports of what's going on in New York
that is fair.
and everything else, and then Scott would have been like, wait, what the hell? But
I mean, that is an alien came down and is wrecking our crap. Yeah, that's kind of a global news problem.
But my favorite part was when they had Brooke under attack, they go, Tony Stark missing. They go, like, ship's
Right.
here, but by the way, Tony Stark is also missing. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the most important thing you want to express to people right now. You have anything else you want to say non-spoilery before we do our super deep dive? Go to Hala and back?
Like, I think this movie did, if you know the Captain Marvel backstory, which, kudos to you, there's a lot of it, that's a heavy burden. It does its best to do what it can with that backstory to, as you said, almost strictly use the Kelly Sue DeConnick run to run forward with.
Okay.
Like, you know, it'd be like taking the entire history of what was the Star Wars book universe and just like, okay, we're taking those 3 books and we'll kind of make it all work eventually.
Yeah.
Which is why Disney instead just wiped it all
out. It's tough, man. It's tough.
But I think they do well with what they had.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a lose-lose situation.
Right.
Where us as fans, and especially, you know, like I said it on the last week's podcast, like when I found out that she was coming out with her film and that she was going to be the key to all this or whatever, I read 50 issues of Miss Marvel. And there's a lot...
As did I, and we suffered.
As we've expressed in the last episode, and go ahead and check that out if you want. It's us talking all about the character of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Like I said, the character itself was kind of sort of a mess. So I wanted everything I read to be honored, but there's no way some chick in a bathing suit, in a one-piece bathing suit, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Warbird,
which before that had a one piece with a belly window.
You understand? Like Rogue and the Avengers 200 stuff.
Right.
There's no way you're gonna do all that. There's no way you can even try to do all that. So,
especially when most of it is negative for her.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So I like you said, I think they did the best they could with what they got, but it also makes me question: is Captain Marvel the best they got? You understand what I'm saying? Like Captain Marvel didn't have the best feet to go on this voyage, but they built some shoes for her, and we got her where she needed to go.
I'd argue the Guardians of the Galaxy didn't either.
Yeah, no shoes, B.
So
I
mean, if you can build them some shoes, then they could walk.
Yeah, that's true.
Walk on stars.
That's it. Yeah. So let's spoil the heck out of this. We gave people a good 20-minute chunk of this. But let's go with some facts and figures off the top. This movie had a budget of $152 million, and in the first week, domestically made $153 million. So it's made its entire budget in a weekend, roughly.
Just in America.
Just in America. Worldwide, $455 million.
Yes.
My gosh.
Yes.
My gosh. Is this just the Marvel marketing monstrosity that we're dealing with here, or do you think that people were genuinely that curious?
I'd argue it's the Disney marketing monstrosity.
Yeah. No.
I also had a buddy of mine who posted up, like, she went to the movie and like they just went to go see Captain Marvel, and oh crap, Brie Larson is at our theater. So her little girl got to take a picture with Brie Larson just after seeing the film.
I saw those photos of her, and I'm like, how am I never there when these things happen? I mean, what are the odds? But still, I was like, man.
Right.
Oh, God.
So, like, they did a lot of work on this one, and the last 2 or 3 weeks into it, like, I'm seeing Captain Marvel on every cab that drives by my job.
Yeah, every ad on Facebook, every ad on YouTube. I'm
seeing Captain Marvel ads enter space with selling cars that have nothing to do with the source material.
What was it? There was something like that. It was like maybe for like a shaver or something like that.
Right, I saw that
randomly, one. It just randomly starts playing like, don't you want to do this like Captain Marvel? I'm like, wait, what?
Like, what does that mean?
What are you selling to me?
It reminds me of the Man of Steel ads where it's just like, how does Superman shave?
It's like he does it with his fingernails.
I was just like,
oh, that's what's that, Hancock?
No, it was, I think it was around Man of Steel.
Okay.
And it was just like, how does Superman shave? And I was just like, he shoots the laser at the mirror.
You ever seen Hancock shave? He just He just uses his nails because they're
I
strong
haven't
enough.
seen that movie in so long.
Yeah, he just scratches his.
That sounds disgusting.
Hey, you know.
Otherwise, great opening. I don't know if it's the Marvel Machine because at the same time, like, who saw Aquaman coming?
You ain't lying. Yeah, you don't.
Other than the guys at Entourage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that movie blew things out of the water, and Marvel's been running on a pretty good goodwill from people. You know, people are telling others that these are not, your grandmother's superhero movies unless your grandmother's from this time and she likes these superhero movies.
Right.
This isn't the first movie with a female superhero, but it's the first to be written primarily by women. Big deal. Supergirl in 1984, Catwoman in 2004.
We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, we're gonna bring that. We gotta bring that out, bro. If we did Witch's Worth with Elektra and Catwoman, that Supergirl gotta, it's gotta go. But yeah, Elektra, Catwoman, Supergirl, even Wonder Woman were written majority by men. As you know, Patty Jenkins goes on to direct Wonder Woman and stuff. The closest was Catwoman, and we spoke about that in The Witch's Worst. My movie was the only one to give kind of a credit to a woman, but that also had 3 male writers on it. So this is women writing this. Do you think you noticed? Like, was there anything like that stood out?
I can't say because like I don't know what would be a woman's touch on a writing process.
There's one scene.
Okay, go for it.
That I think, if not, it felt like a woman wrote it because it felt like it would be funnier to a woman than it would be to a man. And I hope I'm not offending anybody when I'm saying this, but
sure.
It's the scene where Nick Fury is with his boss, and they look under the blanket for the Skrulls junk. I didn't feel like Nick Fury would have done that, but I felt like girls would be like, guys would look to be like, what are they working with down there? And something about that screamed out to me like, oh, that's like a She's not.
If that's the case, I mean, she's not all right. She's not all wrong.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I know a few people who would have.
Yeah, exactly. This is gonna be the first Walt Disney Studios motion picture film that won't be distributed to Netflix. We're ending it. Yes. You know what I'm saying? This is the end, but that also means that this will be the first Disney/Marvel film to make it onto the Disney Plus streaming service. So she's going to be the harbinger of that whole thing.
Will they release a Captain Marvel digital by the time Endgame actually comes out? Because that's a small window.
By my math, this usually happens like in a 60-day period. So no,
no. You'd have to literally just like speed it up and put it out like a week before.
Yeah, and I don't think that works. No. Yeah, that ties so. But I remember going to go see Infinity War and Black Panther being in theaters. I mean, thinking like, is this how this goes? Like,
right.
And there was a lot of people I heard that would go see Infinity War. It'd be sold out, and they would just go see Black Panther.
Was that a thing? Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
So keep it in theaters as long as you can. Yeah. So we're gonna say goodbye, like literally goodbye. Like we're gonna end up having to do an episode where we eulogize Marvel Netflix. But this is we're signing the divorce papers. You understand? This is happening. Yes. No more of these big movies. Because I think Guardians is still up on Netflix. Infinity War is still up on Netflix, and Ant-Man and Wasp and Black Panther. So
Black Panther's still there? Jeez.
Yeah, they make their money. Mm-hmm. But let's get into this film, and let's start with that Stan Lee opening, bro. How do you feel about that, man?
I'm gonna take credit for this. The people I was with, we kind of started a slow clap for a bit.
Yeah,
it lasted for a little bit, and then it went away. But we started it, and I'm proud of that.
In my theater, there was an audible awe. we all went, "Aww," like an awe, like it's sweet, and awe, like why are you making me feel this? And then a clap. And then
I kind of hope, if only for a little while, they keep it
this year, right?
At least this year. There's only 2 more movies.
Yeah. This year they should keep it. You only have to see
especially for Spider-Man.
You only have to see his face once, and I'm already like, oh, it's gonna be the whole thing. It's gonna all be Stan, and then it says "Thank you, Stan." And I'm
right.
So
I know for a fact, by the way, not for a fact. I truly believe that they will keep the Stan Lee cameos going
okay.
in other ways.
There was this weird thing. He does a cameo in this film, and when they first do it, it's his voice. Then they kind of show him, and then they actually show him. For a second, I thought that they were just gonna go with the voice and the outline of his body, reading this script or this newspaper that he's reading in this film. And I'm like, can they just get away with just like Stan Lee audio stuff
I think
and
you
the
can
shadow of him or somebody's cardigan sleeve?
That's a
You know
little
what I'm saying?
weird.
Right.
I can deal with audio if done a specific way. But like, I just imagined it would always be strategically placed photos or video clips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you can play a movie where Stan Lee cameos and like Peter Parker's just on his bed in his bed watching it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And like that would be your scene. Or there's just like a photo of Stan Lee somewhere like in a principal's office or in a military base.
They did that in a lot of the Netflix shows. Like he would be at one point he was a cop. Like he's up on the hall of cops or whatever, and at one point
because like nobody on Netflix overtly says any references, they're just plastered in scenes if you watch.
You get them if you get them, you don't if you don't.
Yeah.
But this movie wanted to make sure that we got something, and it starts off by letting us know that one thing that our protagonist doesn't have is a hold of her memories, because we are shown some memories of the aftermath of an explosion where we see Brie Larson bleeding blue blood and seemingly being attacked by a Skrull. We cut to the character to show the character we would come to know as Veers. How do you like? How do you like Veers? I like the reveal of where it came from.
Right. I knew about the name. I knew
about it too, but I don't know why I didn't put two and two together.
No. For me, it was I knew about the name, but then it still took me by surprise because I spent the entire week calling it Vers.
Yeah.
Because that just made sense.
I thought it was like verse. Yeah. Verse.
Yeah, I was like Vers.
I would figure Veers would be VEE.
Right.
RS.
And then Jude Law's just like Veers. I was just like, wait, what? Really?
Yeah. Veers,
okay,
Veers.
it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, we see her on the planet, waking up, Veers. We see that she's on the planet Hala, the capital of Kree civilization. Were you surprised to know that we were going to start off on Hala?
I didn't think we'd be on Hala, so like it was the Krypton moment from Man of Steel. It's just like, oh, we got a whole Hala.
Yeah,
this is nice.
Hala.
Oh Jesus.
She wakes up her commander Yon-Rogg, played by Jude Law, and admits to having trouble sleeping. Her memories are scattered. They spar, and after Veers lets her emotions get the better of her, they send her to go see the Supreme Intelligence, the AI leader of the Kree. What do you think about Jude Law's and Brie Larson's kind of like back and forth with the sparring and stuff? Wanna fight?
That reminded me of just how many times in the movie, like, not in the movie, in the books, that like Captain Marvel was just like, I'm good at punching things.
Yeah.
Real good at punching things.
I felt like, and this matter of fact, there's a whole host of times in the comics where she's like legit just punching a punching bag.
Yeah.
Or have somebody holding a punching bag while she's punching it.
Yep.
When they were doing this and they were doing the whole, Viz, you should, take control of your emotions and all this other kind of stuff. I immediately grabbed onto a metaphor that I don't know, or like some kind of analogy they were trying to make, and I never let go. And I feel like this movie is trying to make a point of that whole like hysterical woman thing.
Right.
Like women just think of their emotions and they just do reckless things. That's what women do.
Right.
So to get them to be soldiers, we need to clear them of that emotion. Your emotion is not to be trusted because you're just going to be hysterical. And that goes throughout the entire film. There's various points where Yon-Rogg is telling Veer / Carol, you're too emotional. You gotta stop being so emotional stuff. And I feel like that's kind of a microaggression men do to women a lot.
It is. Although at the same time, because I did not immediately get that, because like if you watch any movie where there's some sort of combat person in authority, they will say that sort of thing to dudes.
Yeah.
So it was sort of a two-pronged attack with that one statement.
Yeah, trying to blanket all soldiers as emotionless.
Yeah.
And try to blanket women as too emotional.
Right.
If they took a little bit
steps
back.
It's a common thing for a soldier to say, but at the same time, also a metatextual comment about, like, don't be a hysterical, crazy, emotional woman.
Yeah, look, you're about to cheat. You're about to cheat because you can't win this fight. You're going to cheat because you're too emotional. And it's like, we find out that the supreme intelligence takes the shape of the person you care about the most. Never heard that before.
No, I haven't either.
Never heard that. I was looking for, as I called it to my roommate, the Coolio head in the jar with all
I
the...
thought I always thought it's just the big bean, the big green booger with a face.
Yeah. I always thought he had like Coolio-esque hair coming out.
I totally see that too.
Going out of his head, but no, it's good old Annette Bening is the supreme intelligence, and they speak for a bit, and Veers explains that she's worried because her memory seems scattered, she can't seem to focus, and the supreme intelligence is like, if you can't remember, it's probably better that way. It's probably some atrocity you don't want to remember. By the way, you're up for your mission. We need you to go to Torfa. That's what we were talking about last week. Yeah, we were talking about Torfa last week. To go pick up a Kree spy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, we also hear that Yanrog gave her those gifts.
Yes.
Gave her the hands, and we are shown a kind of an inhibitor chip in the back of her neck when she goes to see the Supreme Intelligence the first time.
Scott Pilgrim.
Very Scott Pilgrim. And I don't know if that's the movie I was supposed to be thinking about right away, but that's exactly the movie I was thinking about right away, and it doesn't help that she's in that movie with Captain America. So I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. Because even in the reason why it was a big deal to me, why I think it reminded me of Scott Pilgrim is because it doesn't get attention on it until it's mentioned.
Right.
It's literally on Ramona seemingly the entire film.
Yeah, it does not come up in film until Ramona in the end is just like, oh, by the way, there's this thing back here.
Right. And it's the same thing. Like, she escapes and she's on Earth and she never once thinks, like, what is this thing back here?
Right.
Like, I would have thought it would have been cool if he was like, make sure you never take that out because it's the only thing keeping you alive or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing we could use
your cosmic powers would go too far.
Exactly, you'll just explode something like that. Like how they did with Diana, where they told her that she needed to keep on those bracelets.
The bands are keeping the energy from going. Whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just gonna be a regular old spy mission at Torfa. Get in, get out. But the Kree are ambushed by Skrulls and their commander Talos. Talos restrains Veers and uses Skrull tech to search through her memories. Probably one of the best parts of the film, to tell you the truth.
It was a really interesting scene. It took me a bit to get a hang of it.
Yeah. The what I would just call director's commentary of Talos and his co-workers. No, a little bit farther back. A little bit. What is this? I don't even recognize anything here. Just go further back. No. Look at. He's like,
okay,
look at
look at it. Look at the jacket. There you go.
No, lower. Come on, focus. And then look at the coordinates. Come on. Oh, you ejected. We gotta do that again. Send it back into the plane. Oh, so cool.
And it doesn't even just rewind. It's like the character appears on the other side.
Yeah. In those memories, we see Veers on Earth wearing pilot gear and walking with Maria Rambeau. We see glimpses of her training, and we can hear the Skrulls as they talk to each other and navigate through her headspace. They are scanning for something specific, and they find it. It's a conversation between Veers and an old Earth woman who kind of sort of looks exactly how she envisions the Supreme Intelligence. That woman is identified as Dr. Lawson of Project Pegasus. Two things. Project Pegasus stands for Potential Energy Group, Alternate Sources / United States.
Jesus, these initialisms, these acronyms just go all over the place.
And Project Pegasus goes as far back as the Avengers film in 2012.
Was it mentioned?
Yeah, but the second thing is, you must have knew something was up when it was identified that this woman was Dr. Lawson. Because the Lawson that we know in Captain Marvel's fair is Marvel.
Yes.
And is a man.
Yes.
So, at this point, I still have not made the connection. I'm just thinking that they need this woman because I thought it was Helen Cobbs. To tell you the truth,
honestly, I'd completely forgotten his name anyway. By that point, he was just Marvel.
I thought this woman was Helen Cobb, or
I did initially think that as well,
or that other woman that gets sick, that she,
that she cares for, so she, yeah. I immediately thought Helen Cobb from the old time travel story.
But I just thought, okay, they're just yada-yadaing through this. They just need to put the name in there so when all this is said and done, people can be like, oh, yeah, that was in the origin story.
Right.
Or yada, yada, yada. But yeah, turns out that Dr. Lawson was also at the explosion that Veers remembers in the beginning. But she can't seem to remember why she knows this person. The Skrulls try to pinpoint grid locations in her memories, but Veers wakes up and escapes fights off the Skrulls and commandeers an escape pod/ship that crashes to Earth, more specifically LA, in 1995 through a blockbuster. How do you feel about Veers escaping the Skrull facility? Skrull ship.
That was a lot of fun, and that was the beginning of some of the, I believe, the beginning of some interesting choices of music.
Oh yes. Which one was that one?
Gosh, I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of the music places, and most of them were fine for me. I think because they play a lot of '90s music, '90s hits in this film.
Yeah.
Most of them are done in transition, which I'm perfectly fine with. We will get to the most egregious one later.
I think there's two. One is semi-egregious, but I think a lot, including myself, a lot of people just like, okay. And then I think that the one towards the end,
yes,
is downright just like, it might as well be red and inflatable as on the nose it is. You know what I'm saying? As how on the nose it is.
Other than that, I had some interesting questions about what LA in 1995 was like.
Yeah. You know, as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, I think they touched on that a little bit in a documentary called Straight Outta Compton.
It's like,
talked a little bit about what was going on.
I'm not sure how they feel white women falling out of the sky
and acting like there's no issues. Like, whoop, shrug. I liked seeing her still handle herself while she was kind of still sort of restrained.
Right.
Like she still had those big cloggy metal things on her hands.
Yes.
And I liked her being able to maneuver past there.
It was like, well, I guess I'll just punch you with it.
Yeah. Brie / Carol / Veers. I think is a very good fighter, and all her action scenes are incredible. I just feel like she's never not the best person in the room fighting.
Okay, so in the conversation I had with my friend about this, I said to this point, if we did that any later on, this is probably the best place to do it anyway.
Okay.
Like, it came up with like, why couldn't we have just done this later with somebody? And I said, if your first introduction to Captain Marvel is her punching Thanos in the face, these are going to look even more like Power Rangers Season 1 putties. Yeah, it's just going to be useless.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, if the whole thing is about how strong she is, sure. She's a Kree warrior anyway. These are a bunch of random Skrulls on a ship. Sure, she beats them up.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I mean, were the Skrulls trying to beat her up? Yeah, that's a good question to ask for later on. So she lands down to Radio Shack, sees a True Lie standee, shoots that because I guess Arnold doesn't deserve to live.
He'll get back up. He always does.
Picks up the right stuff, which is another spacefaring film about astronauts.
Didn't know it at the time.
Yeah, so she, so that was a nice little hint there. She wakes up all confused, but she sees a security guard and she asks him where she can find communications equipment. And I turn to my girlfriend and go, Radio Shack. And then he goes and points and it's Radio Shack. Because there's only one place to build the radio.
I immediately just went, please don't say radio. God damn it.
It's only Radio Shack. I remember thinking, as a kid being more bored with Radio Shack than most electronic places, but it's mostly because they had parts.
Right.
They had a lot of parts to make things as opposed to actual whole things. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. But the Skrulls land and they start to impersonate humans, hoping to find Veers. I thought that was pretty cool. When
yes.
That probably should have been the beginning hint when Talos transforms into that woman, and then one of his people transforms into the same woman.
Hey, I got this one.
Like, get another. I got this one. Oh, so funny. What do you think about the Skrull transforming effect? I mean, that was something that we've kind of been waiting on since the announcement of the Skrulls.
I thought it looked incredibly painful.
It did. It did a bit. But and we'll talk about this when we get to Nick Fury. I love that they kept up with the once you die, you turn back into a Skrull.
Yes.
Thing. All the dead Skrull imagery just screams Secret Empire to me because it was always just like a regular person in regular clothes, but a Skrull.
Oh, you mean Secret Invasion?
Yeah,
Secret
Invasion. I just had Hydra Cap memories for a second there.
Thank
but
sad.
What do you think of the Skrulls as a team, because now they're just gonna use their shape shifting abilities. There's no ships. There's no big war gun. They're just gonna go and hunt. Carol, I thought we were gonna get like a real invasion of the body snatchers kind of situation there.
I thought it was interesting. They get rid of the one thing that would have been tougher to explain away, which was the idea that they have to sort of capture the humans to take their form.
Right.
Something to do with organic material and being able to like harvest it or something. It was just like, okay, we can just kind of like, I need to see it and then I can do it.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of happier with, because it would have been a whole bigger thing to do.
Yeah. I think a lot of what the story has a myriad of different reasons, but I think when it comes to the more high profile people, it's just easier to not have that person show up.
Right.
So they're in your closet. You've kept them in your closet.
Right.
Or whatever. And I did the math. I think when all said and done, there's no Skrulls left on Earth, but I would like to think that somebody's coming back. Man, that's the only thing I did not write down. What do they call this? 53, C-53 or something like that?
I think you're right.
C-53, I think, was the name of what they designated Earth as.
Designated planet for Earth, yeah.
Yeah. Veers is able to use her MacGyver skills to create some sort of telecommunications device out of a payphone that's able to contact Yanrog on his ship. Which, I mean, space tech, I'm with you.
Right.
She tells Yanrog that she believes that the Skrulls are coming to Earth to look for Lawson because she saw them looking through her memories at Lawson, and that she's going to try to do her best to find her first. Her unit agrees to search for her, and Nick Fury and Phil Coulson show up to investigate the blockbuster fiasco. But when questioning Veers, a Skrull takes a shot at them, hoping to take Veers down. How do you feel about the introduction of Phil Coulson and Nick Fury?
I felt looking at them, you can tell that they spent a lot of money on Nick Fury's face and did not have enough for Coulson's at some points.
So I've heard that a lot of this de-aging tech is best used when you have a myriad of footage.
Right.
So I think it just may be a case where we have more footage of Sam Jackson in the 90s than we do of Clark Gregg.
That's fair.
But I do think it is obvious between the two. If you would have told me that Coulson was full CGI, like he was just somebody else, and he was just full CGI, I would have believed you.
There are points where Coulson's face is so smooth that it's video game like.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted.
They did a very good job. With
Sam Jackson, he's 70, but he's aged well.
Yes.
Do you remember when you had to see Michael Douglas in Ant-Man for that little bit where they stretched out his face? Now imagine if that was the whole movie.
He's so shiny.
I think that's like in the 90s as well, or maybe the 80s. So imagine if
it's probably a little before that, because what's her name? Carter still looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, but it's this idea that good thing they found an actor that still looks kind of good, because with the ravages of age, you start pulling that skin back and it starts looking more and more cartoony. Right when Phil Coulson showed up, I clapped just because I'm just happy to see everybody again.
Right.
I'm so happy to see it. And if I'm not mistaken, is this his first movie appearance since Avengers?
Yes.
Holy hell.
Yes, he has been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the entire way, and I think even the Russos or someone or Feige has said ever since that like they are still convinced he was dead. As far as the Avengers, all the movie people know, Coulson's been dead since.
Poor Cap, man. He still has those trading cards with the blood on them.
Right. Oh, jeez.
That's
morbid.
Yeah, it gets bad. When that doesn't work, the Skrull, Veers, Phil Coulson, and Nick Fury go on a high-speed chase with Veers going after the Skrull and the agents in hot pursuit. Nick is accompanied by who he thought was Coulson, but it turns out to be a Skrull. Veers tracks her Skrull to a train where it impersonates an elderly woman, and we get a cool Stan Lee cameo where you can hear him repeating the lines, "Trust me, true believer," while holding a script titled Mallrats. I think this is probably Stan Lee's... I think the Mallrats cameo is probably Stan Lee's first big cameo. I mean,
right.
I think he's in Trial of the Incredible Hulk, stuff like that.
He probably is.
But a big cameo, and I didn't know that. I just watched it as is. Did not know that that's what the cameo was supposed to be implying. It's from Mallrats.
Yeah, I think what he's reading says Mallrats on it.
Yeah. Then if that's the case, well, that is the case. But that being the case, my heart like broke in the best way for Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I was just like, man,
Kevin Smith exists in the Marvel universe.
And the idea that they did this, I don't think they did this thinking, he was gonna. They did all the cameos thinking he didn't have much time left.
Yeah.
But the idea that the first cameo posthumously that we see of him is, I've heard Kevin Smith speak on eulogize Stan Lee, and he's heartbroken.
Right.
So the idea that this could all come back full circle, I thought was absolutely
and it
amazing.
seemingly is the first cameo he's done in a long time where he is cameoed as Stan Lee, at least in live action.
Right.
He's Stan Lee in Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Yes, he is. That's one of the best Stan Lee cameos up there, bro.
They just went over the top with it. It was amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
Other than that, and Kevin Smith technically exists in the DC animated universe.
Yeah, this is true. He has a podcaster, isn't he?
He has a podcast that he has Beast Boy on at the end of Teen Titans Judas Contract.
Yeah, he has his own podcast. I was going to ask you.
Also, 2 words: Dropkick Granny.
Do you think the Granny?
Dropkick Granny.
Do you think they should have kept the Granny reveal out of the trailers?
No, I'm fine with that because
you just like seeing.
I kept going into it just like I want to see Dropkick Granny.
I did like that they were good Samaritans trying to stop Brie Larson from attacking this old woman. So as she's trying to stop this,
at first yes, but
alien,
after I saw Granny do a hop drop kick, I was just like,
they were still,
okay, wait, there's something strange about that Granny.
Yeah, because they were still like, hey, stop hitting that old woman. And
I was like, that woman hit back. She did a 619.
So yeah, Veers fights the Skrull, who shapeshifts again and gets away, leaving Veers with no Skrull and no lead. I did like that shot, and it was in the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Photon blast to the tunnel.
Yes, I love that, but I also liked the shot of losing a Skrull, like in a crowd. Like, that's gotta be the most.
Yes.
Like, there's nowhere to start. There's literally there's nothing to do. It's
like
gone
50
in the wind.
people around. It could have been any of them.
You understand? It's like you being on a beach with like ashes and wind just blows. Like there's no, it's gone. It's out in the wind. And so the Skrull's gone, but she picks up like this thing, this like rock that the Skrull drops, and she puts it in her wrist decoder thing.
Yes.
And it's able to
her playbook.
She puts the Skrull USB into her computer and is able to get the files of what they recorded from her memory banks.
Yes.
So she's able to find out that they're looking for the Pegasus, Project Pegasus, and they're going to be that's mostly what they're tracking down and stuff. The Pegasus logo and stuff. She uses Alta Vista to find a bar where she can find more clues.
I was waiting for the hosted by Angel Fire.
Oh my God, GeoCities. And so we get what I would like to call the smile for me moment. And for those who don't know for those who don't know this smile for me moment was in the movie prior to the backlash of Brie Larson, quote unquote, not smiling.
Yes.
Throughout the throughout the trailer of Captain Marvel.
Yes.
How do you feel about the smile for me moment? Because in case you didn't know this, me and GT are red-blooded American males.
American males.
But we are fond of the opposite sex, and we have many friends of the opposite sex, and I'm pretty sure you've had one or many women tell you that this happens quite often.
Yes, I have actually in my old gym, heard one of my gym mates, male fellow, complain about this woman that was angry about something at his job, and he just said, "It's like what are you so angry about? Why don't you smile more?" And I was just like, "Ooh, boy,
yeah, you don't want to say that.
You done messed up, son." And
it's the idea that women are to be seen. Yeah. Like, who cares what they're going through?
But not just seen, but easier to be seen pleasantly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who cares what you're going through? I shouldn't have to look at an angry woman.
Right.
So whatever you're going through, fix that. Smile, and maybe you'll be more happier.
Yes.
And it's garbage behavior,
it is the peakest form of condescension.
But the idea that this would be in the film prior to
right.
This was not a reactionary thing. I thought was really speaking to this group of males out there that probably could be a little bit better.
Yes.
To their fellow humans.
You wrote your own ticket into that one.
Yeah.
We put it in the film knowing it was the female experience, and then you reacted to it in kind.
And
good work.
And confirm the female experience.
Way to fall for the trap.
Yeah, so Fury, having discovered Coulson is a Skrull, shoots him and is there for the autopsy where his boss tells him to keep it under wraps for fear of infiltration. It is heavily implied that boss is now Talos, disguised as S.H.I.E.L.D. director Keller, who then convinces Fury to meet and work with Veers. They meet at a pilot bar where Veers remembers fragments of things she's done there with Maria. Nick shows up and asks Veers how he knows that she ain't a Skrull, and they gain each other's trust. What did you think about the reveal that Skrulls only keep short-term memory?
Pretty good MacGuffin for what we're gonna need, for what we'll need in how do you say, to be able to play the mystery game of it all when we need it. It's a good setup.
Okay,
it's a fair enough setup. I didn't even know. Oh, you know what? No, I did remember, because I remember Mockingbird has deeper memories when she is scrolled up in Secret Invasion.
Right.
So that was definitely something they added for the movie, but it's that sort of thing where it's just like, does this, huh?
No, I was gonna say, tell you the truth, it could probably all be undone, right? Like in 10 years, it could just
probably
be like, we perfected the technology.
Right, that's also true.
Long-term
that's
memories,
also true.
and then we're back to what we knew about the Skrulls.
That's also true too. Yes. So it's just like, it serves the film. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got a way to beat them. You know, we got a way at least to identify them.
Yes.
Long-term memories
without having a Reed Richards to build a thing.
This is the beginning of where we get that the dynamic between Sam Jackson and Brie Larson in that bar. What did you think about that exchange there?
I enjoyed it. Like, it's made very clear that Carol Danvers is a bit of a sassy individual, and Nick Fury can keep up with her bit for bit.
Yeah.
So they're just having a fun exchange back to back. For all you know, it might have been slightly how do you say on the fly.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Oh, like improv.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're just having a good time there, and
yeah, because our current Nick Fury, wouldn't have the patience to be having these conversations.
No, not at all.
He's the same guy who made Tony Stark get out of a donut. You know what are you doing up there? Yeah. So using Nick Fury's security clearance, Veers discovers she was an Air Force pilot who was presumed dead in 1989. After testing an experimental engine designed by Dr. Wendy Lawson, whom she recognizes as the older woman from her nightmares, and a friend of former pilot Maria Rambeau. How did you feel about that revelation? I didn't think it was that big of a... I felt like everything we had saw to that point was saying that she was the pilot.
I didn't really give it a thought. So, when it was like, it's not a huge revelation, but it was just like, oh, okay. That makes sense. That's how they got you.
I actually more like the conversation that she has on the phone with Yanrog, where she's like, "No, you don't get it. Like,
I had a life here."
Yeah. Like you're acting like I've been brainwashed, but there's like facts I'm finding out here that are not lining up with what you're telling me, and you need to. There was almost like this emotional desperation coming out of her of like, you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
You're hearing me. And you're just saying what you want to say after that. You're not listening to what I'm telling you.
But you can also see it on Yanrog's face, and he's just like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
losing it.
Right. You cheated, and your girlfriend's like, "What's this number in your phone?" Listen, we're not here to talk about that. What do you want on the pizza? I'm ordering the pizza. We're getting it now. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. He was definitely trying to dodge some bullets there, but. The two escaped Talos in a quad jet, I guess a precursor to a Quinjet.
Yes.
With Lawson's cat Goose stowing away, and they fly to New Orleans, Louisiana to meet Rambeau, hoping for answers. Turns out Brie Larson, the mighty Captain Marvel, who's actually allergic to cats. So all her scenes with Goose were filmed with a puppet or CGI
generated. Didn't know that. That was interesting.
Yeah. Huh.
That was funny.
Veers and Fury arrive at Maria's house, who is there with her young daughter Monica. Once I saw Monica, I was like, "Oh, Monica Rambeau, let's get this." We didn't get my Miss Marvel.
I was gonna say, I spent a good bit of this movie just wondering when we were gonna see a brown girl, and I was like, that wasn't the one I expected.
We didn't get our Miss Marvel, but I would say adorable child actress Monica. I think she was really spunky. delivered all her lines well. A real spitfire.
I will say then, what would be totally fine with me is like you get Monica here, maybe you get a Kamala in Endgame. I'm happy with both.
Yeah, no, you ain't lying. The two get emotional when seeing Veers, but Veers says she doesn't remember them and explains why she's there. I like that scene because I think Maria's like, that don't make no damn sense or whatever like that, and then the daughter's like, yeah, there can't be aliens, and then Sam Jackson's like, yeah, there can't be, because if there was, we'd be keeping that to ourselves, wouldn't we?
Yes.
And it's like, it's true. She just showed up, and then he was like, oh, by the way, there's aliens here, and then the aliens show up, and Maria's kind of just nonplussed by the whole thing. She's like, oh yeah, they told me you guys were arriving. The aliens. You the aliens? Yeah, they told me aliens were coming.
I was just like, I haven't seen my friend in 6 years. Sure, aliens exist.
Yeah,
I'll believe anything at this
aliens. Point. Maria and Veers share a sweet moment, but a pursuing Talos arrives at the Rambeau house just as Veers discovers her real name is Carol Danvers. This is when the shoe drops. This is when we find out that the Skrulls are refugees searching for a new home, and Lawson was a Kree renegade helping them out. We also see our boy Talos cower in fear from Larson's cat, Goose. Lawson's cat, sorry. Goose, who he insists is a flirk, and we'll get back to that in a bit. But yeah, how do you feel about this drop? He comes in drinking the soda straight out of Pulp Fiction when they come in, can I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down? He literally comes in like that. And I knew he was.
I'm told it's filmed almost exactly the same.
I knew something was afoot when he says, "Before you get all jazz hands on me," and I was like, "Did he just use jazz? Did a Skrull just say jazz hands?"
Yes. Talos is fantastic in this scene.
Oh my god, ridiculous!
I was just like, "Yep, I like Talos. This is a thing now."
Oh, so funny, man. And then, yeah, man, he has a black box.
Yes.
Stuff. And I like that they're at one point they're like, how did you get that? And he's like, you guys still don't get it. Like, I can turn into anybody. It's like, that's my whole thing. Is that I get places people don't want me to get because I'm not supposed to get
Do you understand how infiltration works?
Yes. Oh my god. And there's various points where he's just a well-dressed alien man. You know what I'm saying? He's just a well-dressed, well-spoken,
just a dude like you man. Guys, bro.
Yeah. Oh my god. I loved it so much.
He's really endearing in this scene when he's trying to be like, okay, look, wait, this is all messed up. Just
the when they go outside, it's even more like he humbles himself to a point that I'm just like, wow. And I'll get there in a second. But we turn on the black box stuff. That was kind of funny too because it's loading.
Yes.
It takes a bit. I don't know if CDs had to load, but
they did.
They did?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It was annoying.
There's a whole generation of people who will never have to worry about any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, I walked out and I was real happy to have my phone with its instantaneous activity.
Yeah, the joke they did with Guardians was the zoom, like the idea that you're using a Walkman. This thing has hundreds and thousands of things.
We've discovered advanced music playing technology.
Exactly.
It's called a zoom.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So. Yeah, Talos is there, and they listening to the black box information, and all of a sudden, Danvers gets all her memories kind of sort of back, and she starts to remember that her and Lawson were testing out a Lightspeed engine when they were engaged by Kree ships that shot them down out of the sky. After surviving a crash landing, Lawson tells Carol her real name is Marvell, dun dun dun, and that they need to destroy the engine's energy core before it gets into the wrong hands. Lawson attempts to shoot the engine but is killed, and when it's revealed who her killer is, it turns out it is Yon-Rogg.
Yes.
We've seen this exact scene. This will be the third time. Both times we saw it before, the person approaching with the gun was a Skrull.
Mm-hmm.
So it is inferred that the Kree have messed with her memories to not only make Yon-Rogg seem like he was a Skrull and that her enemies are Skrulls, but even to the point of making her blood blue.
Yes.
They went out of their way to make her blood blue because her blood is actually red when it first happens. And in her memory, she remembers bleeding blue because she thinks that she's a Kree. Mm-hmm. She's a Kree soldier. So I thought that
despite looking nothing like them.
No. But you know what I think? I actually think that you would have had a case, and they knew you would have had a case, but that's why they made Yon-Rogg look human.
That's fair.
You understand? Because when they're on that train, everyone's blue.
Right.
It's like her, him, and like one other person in the back. But majority of those people are blue.
Right.
So it's like they had to.
It's like no. You're from my race.
Yeah, they had
It's
to
just-
put they had to put a couple people around so that she had people to, I guess, be comparable to.
Right.
But yeah, she runs out once she remembers shooting the remembering what Lawson said, or Marvell, shooting the energy core, which then explodes, and she absorbs all the energy from the insinuating explosion at the cost of losing her memories. With her memory intact, Carol feels betrays her and storms out of the house before Maria can give her a pep talk. Talos explains that he needs to know the coordinates Lawson was flying towards so that they can find her lab and use the Lightspeed engine to seek refuge for his people who have been hunted by the Kree for years. So this is the moment, to me, that humanizes Talos the most. It's when he asks for the coordinates and Brie kind of laughs and says, "You'll destroy us." And he literally just like sucks his teeth. He goes, "We just want to go home." And I go, he's over it. My man Talos is over it.
Yes.
He's shot too many people, he's argued with too many people, he's landed on too many planets, and he's trying to convince too many people that he's in the right. He's literally this close, and she still thinks that he's gonna backstab her, and in that exasperation, he's still like, what else? Like, we just want to go home. That's all. He literally just says it like that. Like, we just want to go home. And I'm like, damn, they might really be on this or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when another funny moment comes because Carol agrees to help and remarks that the coordinates are actually space vectors and the lab is actually in space. And that's when he turns to his science guy. He's like,
"Well, my science guy.
Like,
You're supposed to have figured this out."
Yeah, and they're like, how are we gonna get to space? And the science guy goes, I'll just do some,
retrofit the
some modifications onto the quad jet. And Nick Fury laughs to himself and goes, yeah, your science guy's going to fix up the quad jet. And all of that just had me rolling. Like, I was so down for now everyone to be funny. Like once those Skrulls started being funny, I was down for it all, man.
So I've got to sort of eat my crow moment, have my eat crow moment, because I came on here last week and I said, we're probably not going to get a Marvel. And we did.
Yeah, well, we sat here for a while wondering. We were saying that the issue was going to be tying another woman to a man.
That too.
And his legacy and his shadow.
Yes.
And their way of fixing that is gender bending Marvel.
Yes.
So it's actually a woman's mantle that's passed down, and which was weird because I thought that her half Kree, half human origin that they just wrote was what they was created for this. I thought that was their clean slate.
Right.
I thought that they were going to go, you know what? None of that old stuff makes sense. She was half Kree and half Skrull from the beginning, and then something blew up. Yada, yada, Captain Marvel.
Half Kree, half Skrull?
Yeah, half Kree, half human, sorry.
Okay.
Because she is half human, right?
I don't know. Well, they wrote her that in the books now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, in the book.
Okay, yes.
I thought that was made for this.
The origin, the half sort of origin they rewrote for Life of Captain Marvel, where they made her mom a Kree.
Right. I thought that they did that to like to see if it would work in the comics,
right,
and then do it here. So when there was no talking of Marvel, I was like, that's fine. I guess they're just gonna go half and half.
Right.
But then when she said it, I was like, oh, I get it. Yeah. I also said like it benefited the film and the story in the sense that, in the 90s where they were still acting the way they were acting, of course it would be a woman of rank that would help those women get to be able to fly the planes when they could at like 5 a.m. Yeah, and you also hear from Maria, it's like we couldn't even actually go on missions. Testing these planes was as close as we were ever gonna get. And it's like, damn,
because we had someone up top helping us out.
Yeah,
and if that was a man too, it would have been even worse.
And ultimately,
like your white male savior, it's like, come on, girls.
Yeah, and in the same way as Marvel was supposed to, you are put in this position where Carol learns her biggest lesson through the death of Marvel, which is you risk your life to do the right thing.
Yes.
Regardless of what you think or what's being told to you is right, you do what's right regardless. And Marvel lost her life trying to find safe refuge
and broke the programming.
Yeah. And
of being a Kree that was supposed to be against this whole thing, and she was like, "This whole thing's stupid."
Yeah. And I mean that's treason in a lot of
yes, it is
in a lot of other places. Yeah. Talos, whoa. Oh, I got it. They future fit the quad jet for space travel, and Monica convinces her mom to help. I thought that was a cute moment too.
Yes, it was.
She's like, "What kind of example would you be putting up for me?" I thought that was really
Go
cool.
fight space aliens, mommy.
When it's funny because when she was first saying like, "Nah," I actually agreed with her. I was like,
right.
What do you have? Even Nick Fury, like none of y'all. She's the only one that's going here. Her and Talos. Everybody else staying. I actually thought that was how it was going to be, but it wasn't the case. They sent.
It's like I've got a kid. I haven't flown in years, and you want me to go fight aliens?
Exactly. Yep. And you just showed up to my house like seconds ago.
I haven't seen you in 6 years
with this shape shifting alien. Oh, it's way too much. Yeah. So. Yeah, they convince her to get on board, but before leaving, Danvers figures she should drop the Kree colors.
Yes.
As she's no longer
Words
working for them. Inspired by Monica's shirt, she lets the young girl redesign her suit before taking off to space with Maria, Fury, and Talos. How'd you feel about the cool like graphic design color swatch?
They had a bit of fun with that. I know that the white look was like an older Kree uniform.
Okay.
As for the comics, like when it was like sort of a white, bright
outfit.
Yes,
that was the first one. Was white with the green.
Yes.
Because in this one, it's mostly green with white or silver.
Right.
Right.
I feel like there was that moment where it's like black and neon yellow, which was its own little joke.
Yeah.
She's just like, not a chance.
They do the black and yellow. They do the red and gold, kind of like Shazam, like the other Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And that's probably a nod there too. So, and then the black and gold, which is similar to her old school thing. But I did like that idea, and I do like that later on Jan Rock's like, what did you do to your outfit? Yeah, he's so disgusted.
What are all these colors?
But we're gonna go find this lab. We find the lab in space, orbiting Earth, where several Skrulls, including Talos' own family, are hiding and protecting the source of the energy core, the Tesseract. Did you expect the Tesseract, and did you expect this lab to be housing a myriad of Skrull refugees?
I did not for either, and here we go with Marvel. Like, Marvel's funny in the sense that like the Tesseract is the most important Infinity Stone of our entire universe. Yes, it is. We will constantly reference it.
No, definitely.
It was the first one.
I think it's the one in the most movies at this point.
Yes, it is. It is the only one that technically has a timeline at this point.
Out of control.
It is found in some ancient spot by Red Skull, who then loses it in the ocean after it fucking sends him to random planet X.
I just always remember what's his name, Benicio del Toro's when he sees the stone for the first time.
Right.
I mean, come on, it's an Infinity Stone. But yeah, that's another moment where Talos really gets. I mean, I hate to use the word. I'm not specious, but humanized.
Right.
Where he's like, he sees his wife and the kid, and I couldn't tell you. I couldn't, like I didn't know you were alive. All that stuff, really sweet, really sweet. Like I didn't think with these green aliens, these weird ears and stuff, that I'd be feeling this way. But I thought that all that stuff was really, really sweet. We find out that Jan-Rog finds Danvers on Earth, and after a few questions, figures out she's a Skrull, and that the real Danvers knows the truth about her abduction. So all the jib, the
jib is up.
Jib is up. Star Force, led by Jan-Rog, captures Danvers and brings her before the Supreme Intelligence, who taunts her inability to escape due to a power-suppressing chip. People are saying this is anachronistic because the song that plays is "Come As You Are," and that song would have come out while Carol was in space. But I just figured I'd add that in there in case somebody's shaking their fists at the podcast right now, going, "But it doesn't make any sense. It's not cool because it doesn't make any sense." Yeah,
you know how many times movies make this mistake.
Yeah, we get it. Okay, so we kind of glanced over the first time. I felt like I rolled my eyes a little bit with the music drop. Was the "I'm Only Happy When It Rains," the motorcycle sequence.
Okay.
It just felt like badass motorcycle, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just felt like that. I would have felt that same way if they would have played like Barracuda or anything else. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah, I get it. No, I get it.
I had like a mid 90s like Raven grunge moment where she's got the flannel set around her waist and the leather jacket. I was just like, oh, we're just going real hard on this one. I'm waiting for come out and play to start playing.
All right.
But
I love rock and roll.
I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't mind that one. I like that song a lot, and again, it happens in transition, so I don't mind just playing their nostalgia songs in their transitions.
I would have more had an issue with it if it would have actually started raining.
Right.
Then I would have like, come on.
That's real heavy.
All the way on the nose. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, we have that. We have Come As You Are. The Supreme Intelligence is just chilling because they have her suppressed with her powers, and they literally have her locked into the AI. So there's nothing that's gonna happen to her. They're gonna Jan Rog is looking for the Tesseract. They're gonna figure out all of this stuff. But during their conversation, Danvers removes the Kree implant that was suppressing her powers, gaining full access to her abilities, and a battle ensues once she frees herself, which I think is one of the coolest parts of the movie.
Yes.
Where she stands, she just is full Super Saiyan God.
Kind of reminds me of Gohan walking through the blast.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I got a real big Super Saiyan vibe from it. Which
the golden hair rising up doesn't help.
Which, I mean, look, I've seen Dragon Ball Evolution, so all I'm saying is there's a way to do it. You know, I'm just glad that there's a way to do it.
Right.
Because I was wondering for a very long time, like, oh, they just can't do it.
Can we pull off, can't pull off
they
the
can't
Super
pull
Saiyan
off
look?
the Super Saiyan hair, the eyes.
Maybe not then.
They can't do it. But now we've seen it, so, you know, we're getting closer. We're inching over there. So let's get there already. Yeah, battle ensues. Fury retrieves the Tesseract and Goose. But Goose is revealed to be an alien, aka a Flurkin, with a pocket dimension in her body, and swallows the Tesseract, attacks majority of Star Force and the rest of the Kree. What do they call that when they call for backup? Reinforcements. The rest of the Kree reinforcements, and right when Fury goes to I guess thank him, Goose scratches out his eye.
Yes.
And the premonition given by Mr. GT Rebirth right here on this cast has come true. I mean, it's not like any other of us have made random predictions. I know I didn't about this film. I wasn't trying to say anyone was a Skrull before they were announced to be a Skrull or anything. So, yeah. While this happens, Jan Rog, in what I call a kind of a cool moment, he calls up Ronan and is like, by the way, there's just Skrulls everywhere. Can you just bomb 53 or whatever? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'll be there in a minute. And he does. Ronan just shows up and without even thinking about it, just starts bombing Earth. And Danvers has to use all of her powers and abilities to destroy ballistic missiles. When she grabbed that first one, I said, there's like 8 of them. How is she about to? And she's like slamming them into each other, driving through them. I'm so like, cool. Wow, they really got that moment. And there's this moment that we have here happens all the time in the comics, right? Where there's an armada, a fleet of alien army right there going out of their way to stop Carol in space. And it's just her by herself in her suit, literally doing the Bring Me Thanos on an intergalactic scale.
Just punching bombs.
Punching freaking bombs. Yeah, so she gets rid of all of that. And then she kind of just stares down Ronan. Mm-hmm. Ronan, looking a little bit different because he doesn't have the blood of Xandar on his face. Right. All that black.
That madness.
Yeah, he had went a little crazy in the time between here and now.
A little bit.
But yeah, Xandar, he didn't have all that blood on his face. So...
I swear, I thought she was going to have that Superman Supergirl moment where she was just like, "Would you like to step outside, General?"
Oh yeah, right. No, that's exactly how that happens. Right outside the window, and almost daring her to do something. But he says,
I think he mentioned something about coming back for the
we'll be back.
We'll be back for this.
And then he goes, what, the world engine? He goes, no, the weapon.
Yeah.
Do you think that speaks to something that's going to happen, maybe a Captain Marvel sequel?
Maybe.
Or do you think whatever happens as a result of this is post-Avengers?
That's tough, because is Ronan dead as according to the events of Guardians 1?
Yeah.
So you'd have to put out another movie between those times, which I don't think would be their best decision.
You're right.
Or you'd have to do something that, you'd have to create a remnant of something Ronan did that comes back to haunt Carol without Ronan.
Which is also weird because that also means that the Kree technically had Oh no, they didn't. They never. The Kree never actually had the Tesseract in their possession.
No.
The only reason why Marvel gets a hold of it is because Howard Stark found the Tesseract,
and it goes to Shield.
And so she, while working as somebody under Project Pegasus, is the only way she gets access to that. There.
Yes.
Poor Nick Fury losing an eye. So. Yeah. So. She calls his bluff. They play chicken, and Ronan bounces. He's like, I'm not dealing with any of this. So there's only one person left to deal with, and that's Yon-Rogg. Danvers confronts Yon-Rogg on Earth, and Yon-Rogg tries his best to go Danvers into a fight without powers. What do you think about that? That whole... All right, let's just... Come on, Vers.
I thought it was interesting. It was like, oh, okay, he just switched the channel real quick there.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm so proud of you, girl.
Damn it. You're one of the best. I knew you were one of the best.
He realizes that doesn't work and just goes, well, I guess you gotta fight me hand to hand then. Let's go.
We gotta talk a little bit about, can you turn into a Venus flytrap?
Oh.
Can you turn into a filing cabinet? Why would I want to turn into a filing cabinet? Can anyone do what you do? I mean, yeah, it takes some ability.
We all can, some better than others.
He says, it takes some ability and, dare I say, talent. Yo, he was killing me. Yo, Talos was killing me. Anyway,
Talos is great. I need an excuse to have more Talos now.
So damn good. Yeah, he tries to get her to shoot a fair one or whatever, but she uses her photon blast on him, overpowers him, and sends him back packing. Sends him back to Hala with a warning to the Supreme Intelligence. So
it was a nice little moment where like he tries to goad her into some sort of, I guess masculine tricks. It's just like, well, you got all those fancy tricks, but why don't you duke it out with me, one on one? And she's just like,
idea that like, I need your permission to say that this was a fair fight.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I beat you hand to hand, I would have beaten you because beating you
without all your fancy tricks, you can't match up to me.
Yeah, what does that matter? We're fighting, right? You just trying to kill me with a ship. Yeah, she
like a moment ago, you had a gun out. Nope.
She Indiana Joneses him, and yeah. We should also go about and say that when she was able to fully access her powers and she actually goes and takes on Star Force, Minerva and the rest. Yes. They play Just a Girl by No Doubt.
That was the one for me where I was just like, I'm sitting in the theater just going, really?
And I like No Doubt.
I do.
I really like No Doubt, and I like those songs.
That song a lot.
Maybe this needed a Alanis Morissette song in there.
Yeah.
That would have been more 90s and more nuanced. Like that was really in there at the time. But yeah, the Just a Girl stuff, it felt like a music video for the movie.
Yeah.
No one's calling Captain Marvel Just a Girl. Maybe people are. I wasn't, so it just felt like overdue for me. But for those who I guess felt like she was just a girl, got what they needed, got what they wanted.
Sure. I would have rather them put some booming score moment in there than I'm just a girl. Like,
yeah,
that was too much for me.
But yeah, Danvers finally decides to leave Earth and help the Skrulls find a new home, giving Fury a modified pager to contact her in case of emergency. Meanwhile, Fury drafts an initiative aimed at locating heroes like her, and changes the name of the Protectors Initiative after finding a photo of Danvers boarding her Air Force jet, which bears the call sign Avenger. And the film ends.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Which, by the way, also, it's like we're gonna play that Avengers score right in the background a little bit.
That Avengers score there, I felt like reinstated how big that score has become.
Yeah, it is the only one they have
that
actually has weight to it now.
Yeah, it's gonna get up there with the
right.
That stuff. And I felt proud. I wish I'm getting a little bit tired of them not wanting to finish it. Like, he types it, but you don't see it. Cap says Avengers, and he doesn't say Assemble. I'm getting a little bit upset with that. Like,
you're gonna get your Assemble moment. I promise you.
Give me it all together. You're getting me all tight.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Like that Schrodinger's gun. It's gonna go off.
But we can't do this without talking about the mid-credit scene, the moment everyone's been waiting for. We see Steve Rogers, Black Widow, Bruce Banner, and Rhodey monitoring the pager, which Fury activated prior to his disintegration. And it just stops. They think that it's out of battery or out of power, but it stops because Captain Marvel is here on Earth, and she turns around and axes.
And apparently has like level 12 stealth ability.
Yeah. Just a bit. Got through all the doors. I'm assuming this is an Avengers building that they're in.
I figured it was the compound upstate.
Yeah, because they got the Avengers summer house, right? They got
yes.
That
they moved to in Homecoming.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty damn cool that that she is there already. Yes. I think a lot of the question was how long is it going to take her to get down there, and we don't got to worry about that because she's here.
Right.
And so, and with a new outfit and new hair.
Yes.
Life has been different to Carol.
Yes, hair. It was like straight down this time.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know how to feel about the new outfit in the sense that like I'd already grown accustomed to seeing the outfit in all the stuff coming up.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you done changed it already?
No, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Between all the images I've seen of this suit, this one even looks more simple.
Yes.
Than the other, which you would think it would have been more complex after time spent in the suit.
Someone I saw made a good point though that like it would not have made sense for her to keep wearing this Kree uniform. After the story that we told with the Kree using her.
Yeah. Although,
like, it is maybe a little weird that she does keep the Holostar. Like, you made concessions there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm keeping the star, but, like, I'm not wearing this thing anymore.
It's like the weirdest protest.
But maybe she switched to what's now, like, the more recognizable sort of, like, onesie suit. Flight suit.
Yeah. Yeah. All clean cut.
With a lot more gold.
Yes.
She gonna be shiny.
I hope she ain't alone, man. I hope she met some friends in space for the last 20 years.
I hope she brings the Alpha Flight.
I'm with it. But yeah, that, and then you got another end credit scene where the cat throws up the Tesseract.
That was disgusting.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I got some talking points to finish off with. We're done with our recap version, so let's get a little bit into this review version. How'd you feel about the two biggest twists in this film? One, the Skrulls being kind of sort of the good guys, or at least the person you're supposed to be sympathetic for. And two, the female Marvel.
Like I said, the Skrulls did surprise me. Maybe it surprised me less than other people because I have read before where there are Skrull refugees who are just like, who wanted no part of this war, and apparently like the Skrulls before this were peaceful people and were forced into this lifestyle by the Kree war machine.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that surprised, but there was a level of unexpected that caught me off where the movie definitely painted everything about the advertising painted the Skrulls as the villains.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, okay, no.
Which was weird because we all knew Jan Rog was in the film, and we
right.
knew that he was going to be villainous, or he's at least villainous in the comics.
And then we all went into it thinking, oh, they're both wrong, and Captain Marvel was like, screw all y'all.
Yeah. I knew going in that somebody was going to use her. Yes. One of the sides was going to use her, and that's what she was going to be like, screw both of these sides. But eventually, she did lean. She leaned on the pro-Skrull side.
Yes.
I expect the waters to get even more muddied.
Mm-hmm.
I expect there to be a renegade sect of Talos's place was like, we need to stop. We there was a time where we needed scraps to live.
Right.
We're past the scraps part. You understand? We're conquest mode now.
We need to like arm ourselves in case this thing happens again.
What if they decided they don't want to? Yeah, they don't want to deal with us again.
And even if it isn't necessarily the Kree, the accusers are still out there.
Yeah. But I'm glad that I'm actually glad that they had that nuanced wrinkle of war.
Yes.
That it isn't just woohoo, aha, bad guy and good
right.
guy, and it's just that clean cut.
There are people who aren't even in it that suffer from it on both sides.
In many ways, this film represented Carol as a weapon.
Yes.
And we were only supposed to be invested in where that weapon was pointed.
Right.
And
not that the weapon had agency or anything.
No. And that's how wars work. And then with the female Marvel, like I said, Marvel is so tied to this character's mythos and origin. It's gonna be hard to do the story without her, and they didn't have to, or without her, and they didn't have to. My thing is, not once do they say Captain Marvel in this film.
That didn't surprise me.
I want to know how she gets the name then, because if Nick doesn't give it to her before she leaves, then when she shows up to the Avengers, hi, I'm Carol Danvers.
Sure.
Hi, Carol. It's a nice outfit, Carol. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything else you want to go as? Call me my call sign, Avenger, and then Captain Avenger.
I would enjoy if you get Steve telling her to take the name in Endgame.
Okay. Captain?
Yes. Yeah. If at some point you get the story, I was like, well, you're the captain of your space squadron. Why don't you just be Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Or Captain Marvel. And she just goes, Marvel.
Or he tries to give it to her early on or whatever.
And she sort of rejects it.
She rejects it, and then he like sacrifices himself or whatever. It's just like, there's gotta be a captain. There's always gotta be a captain on the Avengers.
And then she says, I'm taking a damn name.
Yep, and then Goose shows up, he kills Thanos.
Stop it.
We're writing this whole movie.
You stop that right now.
Is Secret Invasion off the table, GT?
No, because like you said earlier, there could always be a rogue sect of Skrulls who are
just a bad bunch, bad apples.
Yes. Maybe they've been radicalized by the entire war experience, and you know they're just angry.
Yeah. There are angry Skrulls out there. The Skrulls that I first remember were the ones that tried to attack the Fantastic Four, and then they made them into cows. And they left them on Earth as cows.
Jesus Christ.
So, you know, sometimes heroes ain't as heroic as you would like them to be.
That's old comics for you.
Yes, it is. They were the other. They were just the alien other.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we got to see what tolerance looked like in this film with different kind of alien races. They're all out to get each other. So I don't think Secret Invasion, I keep saying Empire, is off the table.
You just want to read that book again and enjoy it.
That's all it is. And I'm sorry for those who felt like intensely disappointed by the Skrull reveal. If you are out for the super heel, super omega, super Skrull, you're gonna get that. I honestly believe that you're gonna get that. Hold on. I don't think people had time for both. The Skrulls are bad. The Skrulls shapeshift. The Skrulls are good. The Skrulls are bad.
Right.
Right now, we've just laid out the base of what these people can do. I think we can start. The snowball can start going faster.
I'd ask the question: how many Skrulls were already on Earth before Carol got there?
See, I think they tied that up too neatly, though, because it makes it seem like Talos doesn't know the goings on of Earth. If that's the case, Talos could have just been like, "Hey, Skrulls on Earth, I need you to get this target or whatever."
Right.
And instead, he goes with two people, and out of the two people, they both die. One gets shot by Yanrog, and then the other one, Nick Fury shoots the other one.
Yes.
And so they all seemingly got accounted for, all the Skrulls. But like I said, I want to hope that there is just one hanger on that likes the food here or whatever, and he's gonna lead the invasion when push comes to shove because he heard the Five Guys is closing.
Oh Jesus!
Over under, yay or nay? The music drops in this film. Yay.
For the most part, yay. It's just the one no doubt drop at the end I did not like.
It did feel like they were doing it from like a now this is what I call music volume, whatever, like 90s edition. Like What a Man, and Chasing Waterfalls,
right,
and stuff. Like,
don't y'all remember the 90s?
It's just so weird. Like the Chasing Waterfalls song comes on when Nick Fury's driving the car, and I'm just like, I don't think Nick Fury's a TLC guy, and it doesn't even have to be a 90s song. Nick could have been literally listening to anything.
Sure,
people had tape decks in the 90s.
It's interesting in the sense that like I almost liken it to that's funny. I almost liken it to what they were doing with Guardians, and it's a light space fair, so they're playing music throughout of it that you know.
Yeah.
It just seems heavier because the nostalgia was so a part of the advertising of Captain Marvel.
Another thing though is that Peter had a
tape deck.
Right, so he was grounded to that music.
Yes.
That music was to remind us of him, whereas this music, to our knowledge, has no effect on Carol.
No, it is not what they call how do you say digestive. The music is not playing inside the story. The music is simply for us.
Right, yeah.
Whereas Peter Quill is apparently listening to this as he shoots things.
Let's get into Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I felt like she did as most she could with what she got. I think that the movie suffers from her having to play somebody that doesn't know who she is. I think in the moments that even in the glimpses of her with the curly hair at the bar scene, she shows moments of personality there where it's like, I want to meet that taking shots, playing pool, Carol Danvers. You know
Guns N' Roses, yeah.
Yeah, I want to meet
Karaoke.
that Carol. I want to meet that Carol Danvers, and you get a little bit of that, like you said, with her quirkiness and her spunk towards Fury and Yanrog and stuff.
It's just a natural sass.
Yes, but that natural sass is bubbling from a cauldron of sass that you've kept covered because we can't see it yet.
Sure.
And so I wonder if now that we've gotten this out of the way, it's a Cap situation. We need Cap. We need to do a Captain America movie, but he needs to be in the 40s.
Right.
Cap works best arguing against the sensibilities of current time, but we have to do the 40s movie.
Yes, we have to.
So the 40s movie goes by, and then we get the gem of Winter Soldier. So I want to believe that although this was good, that we reach greatness now that majority of the work that needs to be done has been done.
Right. I will also say that I'm curious to see, especially because the styles will be so different, and especially because, like, with the movie you just mentioned, what a Captain Marvel character is when directed by the very powerful hands of the Russo brothers.
Yes, right.
Because sometimes that's a big difference for a character. Like,
look at Black Widow, man.
Yes.
Black Widow in a Russo directed film is head and shoulders more capable, more like stronger, and as equal of a member of this team like than most parts. But then you put her in a Whedon film sometimes, and she has like shocky sticks, and that's what it is, and a gun.
Yeah.
I'll never forget her loading that gun in that Avengers spin around shot. It's like aliens are falling out of the sky. We're all like,
there's a Hulk. There's an Asgardian God man. There's a souped up soldier from the 40s here, and I has gun.
And we're getting this gun ready.
The only thing worse than it is Hawkeye next to her going, I has bow that no one uses.
Yep.
Which is why they constantly play off each other, and I still want to know what happened in Budapest.
Oh yeah, all the bees. You like to say all the bees because they rhyme. Let's talk a little.
I remember Budapest very differently.
Let's talk a little bit about how. Let's talk a little bit about what I consider unavoidable comparisons. This film has been brought about. The two biggest ones are the most recent female-led action film, Alita: Battle Angel, and probably the most successful female-led superhero movie of all time, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Sure. And let's ignore the fact that, Wonder Woman superhero movie, Alita, not a superhero movie, but a manga anime adaptation.
Yes.
But, like, we've had Atomic Blonde since then.
Yep.
We talked
about last week, freaking Kill Bill.
Yes. But I mean, even since then, yes, we had Atomic Blonde. We had the other action movie at the name that escapes me that Taraji P. Henson was in.
Proud Mary.
Was it?
Proud Mary?
Yes, Proud Mary. Yeah. That she was the female lead.
I know, because Rolling Down the River. Proud Mary.
Oh, okay. Yes, that she was the female lead of.
Yeah. And then Peppermint with your favorite Jennifer Gardner.
No. My favorite is our old friend Jennifer Lawrence in the Black Widow movie that they made before they made the Black Widow movie.
Red Sparrow, right?
Yes. I was just like, someone beat you to it, Marvel.
And like I said, the X-Men movies always had strong females in it.
Yes.
Jean's a strong female, so is Storm. We got
Rogue. The only downside is that they are tied to this team box.
Rogue makes her own decisions, whether they're right or wrong. She's still strong as hell for making them.
Yes.
So yeah, they're there. I think they're unavoidable just because people go, well, this and this,
right. We have to weigh everything. But it's a lot like we said last week, because it's just like, oh, there's another female. We must match them against each other.
Exactly. I think Wonder Woman is a better film, but I wanted to seriously sit down and try to think why. And
by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, but by the way, like, Alita is a weird comparison to me because it's such a heavier CGI film.
Yeah.
And, like, because of it, you can do so many more things.
Not only that, is it wrong for me to jump to the conclusion that she doesn't really identify as, like, a full... Like, is she dealing with gender issues? She's an android.
Yeah, she just didn't.
So no one's going like little girl, or no one's like
No.
treating her wrong because she's a girl.
No,
They're
if
treating her
anything
wrong 'cause
else, it's just more of a gay allegory because it's like, it's a thing I can't control. I am a android. This is how I was created, and y'all treat me like crap.
Right. So you
And
see,
even then, like, I
so...
haven't even seen the movie, and I want to.
Yeah.
But on paper, right in front of me, it's like, this is such a different movie.
Yeah.
From such a different medium. Like, I would never compare Captain Marvel's superhero comic book
to Terminator.
Right. Or, random manga about androids that are sentient. What? But like, because it's a female-led film that came out like 3 weeks before, it's just like, well, I think Elisa was better.
I can see that. The Wonder Woman thing, though, I try to sit and I try to think about it, and the best thing I can come up with is Wonder Woman. People have known that origin for a kind of a minute. Like, people, like, even if you don't know much about Wonder Woman, you know that she's tied to the Greek gods. There was very little known about Carol Danvers 1 year ago.
Right.
3 years ago.
Right.
5 years ago.
Right.
And so them trying to truncate decades of
backstory and
convoluted, be honest, convoluted backstory.
Absolutely.
Like, this wasn't a through line from the 60s to 2000s. She's as old as the Fantastic Four.
Right.
You understand? But
I expect this to come in time if they ever do it, but because both brands have a gap that they are trying to fill that the other one has.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember if I went over this last
week. I mentioned this. You said that DC's looking for a big black star.
Yes, DC is looking for their black superhero star who they hoped to their graces was going to be Cyborg, and it wasn't because nobody cared.
So what do you think about maybe them trying to use Idris for that? Now that we hear about Will Smith supposedly leaving Suicide Squad 2.
I don't know if it'll ever work that way. One, because Harley Quinn's too big and is going to overshadow all of them.
Oh, dear.
And two, she's still going to be in that Squad movie, right?
I don't know. She's taking her whole character in a direction that
is also true. But if she's still in that Squad movie, anyone else is going to be overshadowed by the power that is Harley Quinn.
Fun.
Yes, and other than that, DC would love to find their black superhero character that can take advantage of that demographic. And I'm sure the day they do, it's gonna get compared to T'Challa, and I'm just gonna be like, God.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do we have to pit them against each other?
I had already said that Aquaman was gonna get those comparisons, and they did with a little bit of what the royalty and all that stuff there. This
that's fair.
Reluctant king and stuff. But I did find Diana a little bit more. I wouldn't say enjoyable, but like I got her a little bit more.
Sure.
So I need
Wonder Woman is a more fun movie because it's gonna give you a bunch of action sets, and then it's gonna give you a couple of jokes.
And not for nothing.
And then there's moments of seriousness.
When Warner Brothers wants to do it, an action set done in Warner Brothers has always been really good. Like the money they put up for it. Like for all I decry the bodies lost, but that Man of Steel fight scene is beautiful to look at.
Right. And the No Man's Land scene is wonderful, even though my girl had to fight hard to keep that scene in the movie. How could you possibly do that? And it became the best scene in like the one they put on the posters.
My God. But last but not least, let's go into some prediction territory. You can pick which one you want to predict for first. But what do you think Captain Marvel is going to be up to in Avengers 4? Or what do you think Captain Marvel is going to be up to in Captain Marvel 2?
Whew, that's a tough one. I don't know about Avengers 4. I guess I keep having these concerns that like they're building her as like the thing that's going to be their secret weapon for Thanos. But like I don't think she will be the one to take him down. Necessarily because that's not her story.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone thinks like she's gonna be the one to like arm wrestle him, and it's all gonna be over.
Right. Like no, at the end of the day, it's not her win to get from a narrative standpoint.
I think she's there to be an Avenger, no?
I think she's there to be an Avenger. I think she's there to take up the mantle along with T'Challa and the other guys that are going to be the protectors of the planet once the other characters are up. And we start going on New Avengers-y.
And do you think she becomes a front runner for that New Avengers team?
Yes.
Okay.
I think just like the Ultimates book, it'll probably be her and Black Panther.
Yeah.
From two different sides.
So they bring in Monica. They bring in Blue Marvel, maybe.
I'd hope so.
That's another black hero that they could do.
Yeah,
Blue Marvel.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah, and then you said you got Alpha Flight out there in the wings if you want to get a big Sasquatch-esque
right
monster out there.
What's interesting in that sense is that if they end up with problems with their third Guardians film, it would be really easy to just replace it with Captain Marvel.
Yes. I said when watching the film for the second time that you could easily, in a sequel, put her right next to Rocket and have Rocket be the foil for everything, and
yes.
make that buddy cop, because they did lean a lot on Nick Fury in this, and he had to be a little bit more jovial than he usually is because she's already stoic, because she's already somebody that doesn't know who she is.
Right.
So if she becomes
stoic, Fury will be back real soon, though.
Yeah, and if she has become more stoic, she seemed a little bit stoic when she asked, "Where's Fury?" So if she's become more like reserved or whatever, but still has the cockiness in her, it would be cool to see Rocket play off of that. Plus the frickin' stuff, man.
Yeah,
all that frickin' stuff. I can also really see Monica coming into her own as Photon. Time moves differently, as you know, in space as it would on Earth. So it'd be cool if she came back and there was a fully grown woman who's like, no one believes me. But, this woman came down and I did her whole spacesuit and all this other stuff or whatever. So I think that would be really cool.
You can join us when you get big glowy powers like her.
And
become Spectrum.
Yeah, or Photon or Captain Marvel or one of the 18 names that woman had.
Right.
Yeah, as far as Avengers 4 predictions, now this sounds stupid, and a lot of people, if Dan is listening to this, he's probably shaking his fist up angrily at the sky, but I'm gonna need a little bit of conflict, just a little bit of conflict. It's a little bit of conflict. You understand? Because
between Captain Marvel and
anyone, like Cap ain't just supposed to be like, okay, all said and done, she's here, so she's gonna handle everything. What do you say we should do? He's gonna be a little bit more like, well, I'm glad you're here, but anyway, guys, this is what we're gonna do today. It's gonna be like, he called me, he must have needed me. Well, what are you gonna do? I would like to see some pushback because you don't know these people.
Sure.
And this is the same person.
But is Cap so desperate that he might not be pushy?
I'm just hyped that he was still bearded in that clip.
That was a curious one to me because they're in that compound for a while, and I guess there was some time where he shaves it and does it. I assumed he was shaved the entire film.
What if the shave is all a fake out? Imagine.
It could be.
They're like, you know what?
They could play that whole scene back in Avengers 4 and it's gone.
We Supermaned it. We made him shave and then we CGI'd a beard on him for the rest of it.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, my God. But yeah, I think she's going to be a good addition. I don't think she's going to be the star of Avengers 4. And I went yesterday to look on Fandango to sign up for an email notification for when those tickets go on sale because we're almost a month out.
Right.
And they're still not on sale yet. But they already had the synopsis as the Avengers have devised a plan to revive their lost members in one final battle against Thanos.
Do you think it's a 3-hour movie?
I want it to be a 3-hour movie.
It's got, from everything I've seen, it is juggling so much.
I told you this is one of the longest, most rewarding relationships I've ever had with anything. There's shows that have burned me. Professional wrestling burns me every so often. Even comic
I think the
runs.
Pirates franchise has burned most people at this point.
Oh my God, I have a dead man's chest back there with the special edition of the first 3, and then it just all fell off the rails. So literally everything has fallen apart. But this cinematic universe, bro, always got it. So I'm completely there.
I'm very curious to see how they handle all these things they are juggling, and they are juggling a lot with the potential of this time travel gimmick, with the potential of introducing Captain Marvel and maybe various other
space
characters.
Heroes. Yeah,
because it would be weird. It would still be weird to me if Cap came alone.
Yes,
if Carol just came by herself.
She may have come alone, but I hope that she's like, I'll be back.
I'm a speed in. Backup's coming.
Yeah, I'll be back. You understand? Because you can literally just dump 10 people and we don't got to know everybody.
Right.
But we can get to know them.
And the biggest mystery of that film is okay, wait, what is Thanos doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's still the villain.
Yeah, and he seems to be done. Well, are we going to see Skrulls join the fight?
Right.
Be like, half of us been decimated. I'm with it. Let's do this. Talos is like, listen, it's time to go back.
We got a favorite.
Oh, my God. And, no, I think that we're looking up still, even though we're gonna lose a lot of longtime members, a lot of longtime teammates. I think that we're getting closer to what this new kind of scary unknown is. This post Avengers Endgame unknown.
It hasn't been scary for a long time.
It hasn't been scary for a long time.
It's just been fun.
But here's to continuing that fun. And if you guys want to continue the fun, you can go back and listen to all the different reviews we've done on Marvel movies, DC movies, Dark Horse movies, Image movies, all kinds of the great stuff that we cover here as part of the Major Issues podcast. Yo. And you can find us wherever podcasts are found. That's Podbean, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, the Apple Podcast app, which means if you have a iDevice or an Apple device, there's already a podcast app pre-installed. Just look it up and search the Major Issues podcast. The actual easiest way to find us is to go to Google and just type in Major Issues podcast, and we're the first ones that pop right up. And available wherever podcasts are found. Even on YouTube, we're up there. Go look for us, like, share, and subscribe if you got a chance. If you want us to do us a favor, right before Endgame would be pretty cool of you guys to start leaving some ratings and reviews. It's the quickest way for us to get feedback from you guys, the audience, on what we're doing here and how we can improve. And that's how we become better as podcasters. So please try to rate and review us on iTunes because that's the way we get to course correct and figure out if maybe we're working for the wrong side, I don't even know.
I'm willing to switch uniforms.
You understand? I got that color swap thing. I'm with it. Don't forget, if you want to reach us, I'm talking about regular reaching on social media, baby. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram @comicbookclick, or use the hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. You can get on our Twitter @MajorIssuesCBC. I believe you have a Twitter as well, sir.
I do. It is RebirthGT.
And if you guys would like to write in to the show, we'd like to read feedback on air. You can do that by emailing into comicbookclick@gmail.com. But yeah, that's the quickest way for you guys to reach us and be reaching us because we're already on the road to Endgame, and this road don't seem to be stopping anytime soon. Woo,
this road's bumpy, and I'm not sure I'm ready to get where we're going.
This is crazy. But my name is George Serrano, a.k.a. The Don.
My name is Gregory Thomas, a.k.a. GT Rebirth.
And whether or not you got your eye scratched out by a flirkin, whether you can't not remember where you're from, whether you turn out to be fighting on the wrong side of the team, or where you can't figure out why people keep asking you if you could turn into a file cabinet, remember that we are the Clique, and you, yes you, are worthy.